I saw Mama Africa, and she was free.
I'm from a different star shine, a world that exists way different than your kind. Ain't nobody groomed to be wedded to hard times, and ain't no mother mourn for their son doing hard time. And we like the hard grind, not for real estate or cream. No, we do it for the love and to elevate the teams. Poverty of pigment never reigns supreme. We brought to being where radicals dreamed, and I'm an actual king.
In my vision of the future for Zimbabwe, which is hard to not see it as bleak with the way that it's been for the last 20 years, I had a vision that the nation would be free.
My vision of the future makes me more hopeful. I saw a united Africa gaining from what the land has to offer and people not coming in and stealing it.
A futuristic Africa to me, it looked like building up the people, the culture and the love, the unity, coming back to the roots of Africa.
The girl on the far left is supposed to represent a present-day woman, and the man on the far right is supposed to represent our ancestors. And then there's Mazbou, the time traveler from the future. I moved to Perth in Australia when I was 8 years old. It was quite diverse to Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe is, full of so many different races. Australia, Western Australia, I felt like the only black person at my school. In fact, I think I was the only black person. That was a really hard time of my life, just experiencing racism for the first time. I am black, and it's a good thing to know that difference. I know a lot of people try to say they don't see color or see race, but it's real, it exists. So I try to embrace that every day.
You just always open magazines to just look at pretty things, and everything was very white and skinny, or a European idea of what beauty was. So I feel like it's really important for me to photograph black kids here in clothes that they probably wouldn't be able to get or wear in ways that they aren't always shown in, and create a platform that showcases that and images that celebrate them and empower them, inspire them. I'm Burundian. I came here with my parents when I was 6 months old. What drew my parents to Aotearoa was the war happening in their country. So they fled there with a few others that they knew and came here as refugees with me.
We the Bambinos, the chiefs of tomorrow, and we be like.
So what my piece means is focusing on the people. I wanted to include a range of people of African descent, from South Africa to the East, to around the world, Afro-Brazilian. I was shown the people of Africa. I think a lot of the times we focus on the city and how much money they're making, all that kind of stuff, but what I saw was just the people that were trying to nurture back. Growing up in Brazil, I grew up in a very poor area. Coming from Brazil and going straight into a predominantly white private school, I definitely had to, learn to have tougher skin and find ways to, immerse myself in my culture. A massive thing was I started to forget my own language, which broke my heart because that's a massive part of me.
Black light, we don't need to talk about it. You better act right when you come around it.
Living here as an African, but also being Kiwi, is sort of having, an identity crisis. So I think that it kind of gets confusing trying to figure out who you are or where you fit in and what it means to sort of be African and Kiwi at the same time, because it hasn't really been a thing until of recent, I guess. Well, it has always been a thing, but no one's really made it a thing.
Say it 3 times, get surrounded by it. Black light, we don't need to talk about it, but you gon' hear about it. What you think you know about it?
My granddad was of African descent, and he was a hardworking man in Brazil. I think if my ancestors weren't taken from the African continent and I grew up there, I would have loved my hair. It's a massive thing that I've always said. Growing up, I never loved my hair. I always had short hair, and it took me a long time to realize that it was beautiful.
Meeting racism for the first time as an 8-year-old, dealing with the jokes and the commentary was quite difficult for me, but I think it kind of shaped who I am today. painting black girls specifically. I remember going to art galleries as a kid and never seeing anyone who looked like me on the walls.
I had to learn how to keep myself like being me and truly being myself without letting others pressure me into being what they wanted me to be or who they thought I should be.
As a black woman so far, I will use every experience I have in how I raise my biracial daughter. It's something I had to really think about when I found out I was pregnant and my fiance is Polish. I need her to know that she's accepted on both sides, especially her black side, because people will see her as a black woman.
Future Africa has inspired me. It's helped me to really want to learn more about my lineage and my African descent, which is something that I felt like has been kind of hidden from me my whole life. No one's really talked to me about it. So it's inspired me to want to learn more and really find my roots and learn about myself.
I definitely feel more inspired to keep creating and keep pushing these positive representations of my community. And hopefully one day someone else will be able to continue doing the same thing so that New Zealand has, I guess, documentation of black people that lived here, that grew up here, that like just were on this land.
There's a sort of new sense of pride with being black that I didn't quite recognize growing up. So I feel like there's a lot of support for black culture, all the different types of black culture, and people are excited to be black for what I feel like the first time in a very long time. The fact that we survived despite it all, despite the past and the present, we have made it to the future.
Stop regardless. Ha. Yeah. We gon' run it all. Yeah. We gon' run it all. But listen. We living life so free. The freedom never free, so there's a price on we. If you can count the cost and unite strongly, then we a manifestation of what life gon' be. We do what we choose. I chose all for release. Call me Pablo, the way I sent my bars overseas. Exploited a mistake on the part of the beast who underestimated the sons and daughters of queens. Like.